Thanks for everyone who's joined for our webinar. I'd like to kick it off to our presenter, Chris Tidball, to get started.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us today. Before we get started, please put your phones on mute and do not put your phone on hold at any point during the presentation. We will be having some polls throughout the discussion, so please participate as your feedback is very important. If you have any questions, there will be a location to ask those, and I will also be providing my contact information at the end if you would like to follow up. This presentation is going to be recorded and it will be available next week. My name is Chris Tidball and I'm the Vice President of Sales and Claims Transformation Strategy with EXL. My claims background, which has spanned 25 plus years, has primarily been on the carrier side with companies such as Progressive and AIG, where my most recent role was with oversight of subrogation casualty operations in North America. Today, I am hoping to share a unique perspective into subrogation and how leveraging an analytics-driven ecosystem can dramatically improve carrier results. On the phone with me is Mark Bernacki, a foremost expert in subrogation who runs our subrogation operations in Hartford, Connecticut, and will also be available to answer any questions that may come up. As we go through the material today, we hope to give you some insights into what we're seeing and hearing in the marketplace. And we're going to focus on three things. First, subrogation is getting a lot of attention right now. Attention to this aspect of claims seems to come and go, but right now it seems to be very important. Subrogation not only drives new levels of financial returns, but implements and tests advanced technology and analytics. Finding the right partner to help you with this is critical. It's not just technology or analytics, it's bringing that together with deep subject matter expertise, including how to optimize the contributions of your recovery teams. Second, carriers are recognizing that property subrogation is ripe for change. While many carriers have applied analytics on auto, most have not been able to invest in property because of the lack of scale. We will help carriers to understand how scale can be achieved through a clearinghouse model on property that combines advanced analytics and technology to create an aggregate view of the data needed to pursue these claims. Third, I'm going to introduce you to our roadmap to improving auto recovery outcomes. From first notice of loss to closure, we see opportunities to improve auto outcomes. We see as much as 60% of current costs that can be driven out of the auto subrogation process while maintaining or improving results. We'll share our roadmap to achieve these benefits over the next few years. While we know this sounds somewhat aggressive, we believe we can achieve these objectives through both incremental changes and deeper digitization of the process. I don't think it's a pipe dream. I think it can be achieved with technology, analytics, and really smart people. So before we talk, let me give you a brief overview of EXL. We are a global leader in analytics, operations management, and claims platforms. We're publicly traded on the NASDAQ with a headquarters in New York City, and just this year we celebrated our 20th anniversary. Why our relationships with some of the largest and most respected carriers in the industry are so successful is due to our culture. Our clients represent approximately 40% of the personal lines market and 20% of the commercial market. We as a company were actually born out of the insurance industry, enabling us to relate to the challenges that you often face. We are focused on digging deeper and finding solutions that are going to work for you. EXL is consistently ranked as a star performer in the annual Everest Peak Matrix. We have received many awards based on innovation and customer service, including being named by Forbes as one of the 100 most trustworthy companies in America. Among our 31,000 employees, we have over 4,300 data scientists, which gives us keen insight into data that results in transformative platform designs. Our 14,000 insurance professionals provide a level of domain expertise unsurpassed among non-carrier business partners. So I was in a meeting recently with a large global insurer, sat down with the chief claims officer, and I asked him, what is it about subrogation that keeps you up at night? His reply, nothing. I don't think about it because I don't have time to think about it. My response is like, well, why am I here? He said, simple, so I don't have to think about it. I have too many other pressing matters. But as we chatted further, it became clear that he actually does think about it, and he does understand the potential upside that subrogation can provide for improving indemnity results and cutting expenses. Herein lies the key, recognizing subrogation as a lever for managing indemnity and controlling costs. The fact is, people are once again recognizing that subrogation is a strategic asset, not just in auto, but in property and commercial lines as well. In the last 4 months, we've had strategic conversations with carriers that represent 60+% of the U.S. market. So it's top of mind, amongst a lot of people. Because of advances in technology and AI, opportunities to improve outcomes and streamline the subrogation processes continue to evolve. And think about it in terms of numbers. For personal lines, auto is, 17 to 30% of indemnity is impacted by subrogation. For commercial lines, auto, 7 to 12%. Property lags a bit at 2 to 3%, and work comp for many is around 2%. But a simple 1% improvement in loss ratio has a huge impact for everybody. So what we provide is a solution for the entire recovery ecosystem, beginning at first notice of loss, with the customer and end user in mind. When a claim is assigned, we're running models to ensure that the appropriate recovery path is taken. There are others that deploy business rules at FNOL, but we run models throughout the entire claims process, scoring for recovery probabilities. Beyond triage and workflow, we connect the entire supply chain. We at EXL file over 50,000 arbitrations annually. But when the entirety of the Subrosource universe is taken into account, users at carriers, they file another 130,000 arbitrations a year. Our clearinghouse utilizes a network of vendors and attorneys to give substantial lift to these high transaction, low yield claims. For property, we focus on collection and preservation of evidence while managing the C&O process, allowing the field staff to do what they do best, which is customer service and claims resolution. So at this time, I'm going to be putting up our first polling question. Let me know if you currently handle subrogation internally, outsourced, or a combination of both. And I'll give everyone a minute or so to respond to that. As a former claims executive, what I really like about our subrogation solution is the flexibility and ability to configure specific needs. Here are a few examples of where customers have engaged with us. A global carrier utilizes our multilingual, multi-currency system in various markets abroad, but they also had a need for salvage, so we created a salvage solution for them within Subrosource as well. We have other carriers who outsource property claims. Others outsource all claims. Some use our arbitration services, and others simply license the platform to make their own staff more efficient or have a hybrid design that melds our respective processes and systems into a more robust solution. Having components such as Contention Builder or the Property Clearinghouse allows carriers to leverage specific expertise to give them a competitive advantage. When looking at how these carriers perform against the industry, the benefits of the tool become evident. The reason for success is that these carriers have made subrogation a strategic priority. They have recognized that in order to stay ahead of the game, they benefit from a good partner who provides impactful digitized solutions for modeling, segmentation, and aggregation. Subrosource is the largest non-carrier platform in the industry. So it's used globally. As I mentioned, it's multilingual, multi-currency capable. In the United States, about 12% of all subrogation transactions are processed through the tool, including being used by 3 of the top 5 carriers. The importance here is the scale, which gives us deep analytics capabilities, including third-party behaviors. Clients typically see about a 10% lift in recovery, plus significant reductions in subrogation-related expenses driven by automation, streamlined processes, and decision support. The success of our clients is driven by analytics capabilities that begin at FNOL to improve opportunity identification and a triage process that improves assignment accuracy. By connecting the entire subrogation supply chain, there's complete transparency and a tremendous efficiency gain. The key to success throughout the recovery lifecycle is the prompt identification of subrogation. If you look at data, you'll see that the longer subrogation sits out there, the lower the recovery probability. So moving on these quickly is very important. As the claims are reported, we take a feed of data from you to begin scoring the process. This is a fact-based model that drives adjuster awareness of subrogation opportunities. We again run models during the process based upon things like new documentation, negligence law, adverse carrier, witnesses, any other critical information that may come up. So scoring can change over time. The model is based on both facts and our experience, which is based upon the history of millions of claims processed. Finally, we run a segmentation model to identify the best collection strategy to reduce costs and improve results. And we'll walk through how that works in a second. But before we do that, let me ask you another polling question. Analytics is becoming a critical part of the claims process. Do you see a benefit of analytics to improve subrogation identification? And I'll give everyone a minute to answer that. Okay, let's take a look at Subrosource. This is our first look into the tool. The tool provides users with a great visual. You'll have the status of the claim. You're going to have a workflow-driven recovery tree. Based on characteristics of the claim, there's going to be scoring and recovery probabilities. The tool allows us to understand third-party behavior, and this is critical to the decision-making process. Scoring capabilities for likely outcomes are based upon facts and characteristics of the claim. Being able to measure outcomes against third parties provides an insight unparalleled in the industry. It allows you to understand your performance against other carriers. By having a deep understanding of responding carrier behaviors, the tool will more effectively drive outcome-based behaviors. So consider an example of carrier A being up against carrier B or carrier C. Data will tell us how claims are likely to progress based upon a variety of factors, such as cause of loss, claim characteristics, and venue. If the data suggests that direct negotiation works best versus carrier B, while ARB works more effectively against carrier C, there are likely going to be different decisions being made. Subrosource intelligence provides this level of insight. By utilizing data-driven processes, we typically see an improvement in negotiated recoveries of about 12%. By focusing on data-driven decision-making, adjusters will improve quality, consistency, and outcomes. So as mentioned earlier, we file around 50,000 applicant and response arbitrations a year. Our clients file another 130 1,000 more using our automated contention builder. This gives us both tremendous experience and insight into third-party behaviors. We have dedicated applicant and response units. Our analytics-driven contention builder not only creates efficiencies, but drives an improved win rate. So our analytics-driven contention builder not only creates efficiencies, but drives an improved win rate. Here's a snapshot of the contention builder, and adjusters simply have to add a few key points, and the contentions with the highest probability of winning are going to be identified and populated. One of the biggest challenges for carriers are response arbs that often go unresponded. I can speak to this firsthand as I created a response process in my prior life. My situation might be familiar. I mean, I was working for a large carrier. Liability adjusters were tasked with responding to inbound arbs and demands. And in a world of 24-hour contacts, 48-hour inspections, and 7-day closures, response arbs just weren't a priority. Many went missed, resulting in default judgments. Others were haphazardly completed, resulting in losses. A response process changed that with a nearly 30-point improvement in the win rate. But it's not only me. I mean, we see this with other carriers. So if you look down here to the left, here's a snapshot of 2 carriers and how they improved after turning to us to help them on the response side. With less than a 1/100% no response rate, carriers are seeing dramatically improved results. The biggest benefit here is that we can free up valuable time for your adjusters to focus on higher yield opportunities or more important claims functions. Now, let me ask you another question that's going to appear in the poll. Do you think automation, such as Contention Builder, would make your adjusters more efficient? And I'll give you a minute to answer that. Now let's take a look at claims and vendor selection. This is pretty important, as more than 13% of all auto claims involve uninsured motorists. I'm down here in Florida. We've got more than 25% of the vehicles on the road without insurance. Some states are even higher. So here, once again, leveraging data to drive outcomes is critical. With the sheer volume of claims, the time to manage the process is significant and takes management focus away from more critical needs. Our approach is to look at the claim characteristics and identify the best past performance with advanced machine learning algorithms. Getting opportunities to the right vendor the first time can have a significant impact on recoveries while also reducing your vendor costs. As we move over to property recoveries remain among the most elusive in the industry for a variety of reasons, not the least of which is really busy adjusters doing more and more assignments each year. The single biggest reason for missed recovery in this line is missing evidence. The key to success in property is the investment of time and resources by both the carrier and EXL. There are others who claim to handle property, but they are lacking in these areas. In particular, the utilization of advanced integrated analytics to score and optimize files. Our team has extensive subrogation experience, most importantly, a high level of customer service. So high that some of the leading preferred insurers in the industry with leading JD Power rankings use this team to work directly with the insureds to secure evidence and manage the C&O process. So why is there an opportunity in property subrogation? First, let's look at how we view opportunities here. Typically, carriers do a good job on large claims, but sometimes at a high cost. By leveraging analytical models, recovery, accuracy, and ratios can be improved. challenge carriers often run into is that the focus on bigger claims can come at the expense of smaller ones, leading to an overall reduction in recoveries. By having a partner to manage the process and leveraging proven models, there is a rise in both collections and productivity. Our deep data sets start to work at FNOL, which we're going to walk through in a little more detail. So when you look at recovery metrics, let's take a look at some results. So on the left, we have an example of an EXL client who had us manage claims with a threshold of $75,000. There was significant improvement as a result of our focus and expertise in property. As mentioned earlier, there's a variety of ways that subrogation processes can be managed. On the right side of the page here, you're going to see that the highest returns came with EXL managed claims. But even for EXL clients managing their own claims using our technology, they still outperformed other benchmarks. This type of lift can be highly transformational and has resulted in some very large increases in recoveries over the years. So let's take a look at a case study. We pride ourselves on having a consultative approach to developing solutions to improving outcomes. I mean, I mentioned we came from the industry. I spent many years in the industry. Our leadership has sat where you sit, and we face the same challenges. This gives us a unique advantage when helping customers reimagine their own recovery process. In this situation, a carrier came to us with a challenge to improve their property recovery process. There were two criteria. One, EXL designed the process, and two, EXL agreed to a rigorous service agreement relating to customer interactions. We leveraged our front-end modeling and robust collection and preservation system to drive overall recovery improvement by 30%, or an additional $7 million. With a few enhancements, another $1 million was recovered the following year. Arguably, the biggest key benefit to this process is the extremely low management overhead. So why would we have a process better than an insurer? Beyond our experience, we focus on front-loading work, leveraging our analytics expertise, providing robust evidence collection and preservation. These are the keys to driving the subrogation results in all lines, and in particular, in this example, property. So when you think of EXL, think of us as the analytics company that was born out of the insurance industry, and we bring those two things together, which allows us to create highly effective solutions. So utilizing holistic, analytics-driven cradle-to-grave platform improves bottom-line results. Every single client that uses EXL has seen a dramatic improvement. Most have results that are far exceeding industry averages. Again, why would this be? When technology plus improved processes are given to people, they are able to recover more per person because of their focus on higher yield claims. In auto, think of the potential of using models for identification and segmentation, a digitized demand process, and auto settlement capabilities using analytics. In property, think of how impactful it is to leverage early modeling, segmentation, and aggregation to drive the entire process. Innovation drives outcomes. Our differentiating capabilities, such as Contention Builder for arbitration and the Property Clearinghouse for evidence collection, preservation, and C&O, enable carriers to improve workflow, focus on customer service, and higher yield recoveries. So managing an entire supply chain frees up your staff to focus on core competencies and your management to focus on more strategic initiatives, while our process provides the vendor support and coordination necessary to improve outcomes for you. We're not a one-size-fits-all company. To the contrary, we spend a significant amount of time working with clients to understand their current processes, look for deficiencies and deltas, and then construct a solution that addresses their critical needs to give them the best value in the industry. So as we conclude, I would like to thank everyone for joining. please jot down my contact information over here and feel free to reach out if you'd like to discuss further. It's been said that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. We're here to help you take that step to gain a competitive advantage in the marketplace. With that, I'll open it up to any questions that people may have. And I've got one here. Who are your largest clients? So, as mentioned earlier, we deal with many major carriers, both domestic and global, including 3 of the top 5 in the United States. For confidentiality reasons, we can't divulge client names, just as we wouldn't share your name. But if you'd like to have a deeper discussion, we certainly, if we move down that path, frequently provide references to people. And any other questions?
None so far, Chris.
Okay. All right. Well, again, thank you for your time. Jot down my contact information, and if a question comes up, feel free to call or email me. Thank you.
This concludes the webinar. Thanks so much for everyone joining. We will be following up with the webinar replay link in the next few days. Have a great rest of your day.